Welcome to the podcast. For some reason, there's certain words I cannot spell. I would sell.
You ever go to school?
No. I left school at 12.
So I actually wanted to go to Australia and sell party tickets.
That's fraud.
Some manipulating people, because actually my university degree,
Welcome to the podcast. Number
7.
Okay, so today we won't be, before we start doing these podcasts, we always try and have a bit of a theme about what we're going to talk about, and usually I'm going, let's just start, Chris, let's just go, and Chris is German
about it.
So he's like, let's actually have a plan. So we thought we'd talk about sales today, because that's an exciting topic, and both of us have been in sales for many years, me a few more years than Chris. I'm sure he's going to mention that, so I tried to preempt that. Exactly.
Let's go. Yes.
So, both of us are in sales now. I mean, I tend to class myself as a consultant more than a salesperson, but there we are.
Yeah, I'm an investment advisor, so I wouldn't know what sales is.
I like investment advisor, yeah. Investment advisor sounds so professional, doesn't it? Yeah.
Actually, my boss told me yesterday that... Oh,
there's a door. That's okay. Faisal will get the door. The dog's barking upstairs.
I guess not.
Anyway, so there we go. That's our noon delivery. If you haven't lived in Dubai, Dubai is amazing. If you want anything within 20 minutes, it can be delivered to your door, and that's exactly what's just been delivered.
There's an actual noon consultant coming to your door.
The noon consultant, yeah, the noon logistic consultant has just relieved his.
The advisor just dropped the carrots.
Yeah. And I'm going to ask if Pfizer can bring us some. What did I get? I got
some of those crisps.
Yeah, these crisps
that you were struggling to spell.
Yeah. For some reason, there's certain words I cannot spell. Crisps is one of them, and I think it's because I lived in America for such a long time that obviously I'm used to saying chips, and then I try and say crisps, and I try and say CHR, and it's wrong.
Yeah, you started with my name and then tried to switch
exactly.
it into like something.
Yeah. I was going to say something really inappropriate then, and I'm glad.
Go ahead then.
No. I'm definitely not going to do that.
Makes it easier for Pretty Cat to not have.
It makes it easier for everyone not to have to listen to that. So, anyway, sales.
Sales, yes.
Sales.
So, Daniel.
Yes.
You've been in sales for more than 100 years. How did you get into it? How did the story start?
Well, actually, for me with sales, I started as, I guess my first job when I was 14, because in England they send you out to work very early. I was working in a furniture store, building and selling furniture.
So you were building the furniture yourself and then selling it?
Yep, a futon. You ever heard of a futon?
No.
Okay, so a futon is like a Chinese or Asian sort of bed, which can be folded up. It's like a slat bed and can be folded up into a chair.
Okay. Okay. No.
You must have seen that. Yeah. I mean, literally every student in like 2000 plus had one of these futons, right? So yeah. So when I was like 14, 15, I worked in a furniture store building these, putting them together.
But isn't that a bit of child labor?
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. But it was like, I didn't care. I needed the money. And then and it's sales. So you go upstairs and you're talking to customers and you're trying to sell them something. And my first, what I realized about anything you do in life is sales. So if you're selling furniture, and then I went on. You
realized that back then?
I did.
Okay.
So I was working in a furniture store then on the Saturdays, and then also in the evenings I trained to be a tennis coach. So I was coaching tennis to people, and then also I had some clothes that I would sell.
Did you ever go to school?
No, I left school at 12. No, but as a tennis coach at 16, as a coach, 16 and a half, I started coaching tennis, and you're selling tennis, right? So particularly if you're teaching kids and things, you're trying to make tennis exciting. So you're selling the whole thing about tennis, and I think that is sales. Sales is all about, someone has a problem, you provide the solution, and you provide the solution in a way that you're not forcing it down someone's throat, and they're like, oh my god, that's awesome, yeah, okay, I can hit a forehand better, and then they keep coming back.
Sounds so much different to what I thought that sales was.
What did you
when
think?
I first started? Huh? No, because honestly, I didn't even know what sales was until I was maybe 24. So I've seen this word as like a job description, but I always thought, because in Germany we use the word sale for like the end of winter sale usually, you know.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I was like, I have no idea why this is a job position. Like kind of called like this thing happening in the end of whatever season to sell some clothes.
Yeah.
So I literally, even though I studied marketing, nobody was ever talking about sales. Yeah,
Is it like literally
so
sales and marketing? Isn't it like in the same thing?
Yeah, not in my degree.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I didn't even know what that word was, and that whole world around it, and that whole culture and whatever, you know.
Really?
And so first time I actually got in like touch with sales is when I was in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So so I was trying to get.
What did you do in New Zealand? This isn't the same thing as Australia.
No, so I actually wanted to go to Australia and sell party tickets. But that I wasn't aware that this would be part of this whole sales world.
Right.
So I went to Australia, but I didn't have the visa.
Yeah.
And after like 1 week, I had to find out I couldn't actually stay.
But didn't you do the rock thing?
So that was 4 years earlier. So
4 years earlier? Oh, okay.
I came back to Australia hoping that I would find a wife, marry, and stay at the Gold Coast forever. That was like secretly my plan.
Yeah.
However, after 2 weeks, I had to leave because I figured out, okay, I can't actually do this party ticket thing, which I really wanted to do.
What's the party ticket thing? Just literally
selling,
literally walking on the. Hold on.
Yeah.
So you're the guy walking on the beach
Selling
in
party
speedos,
tickets.
saying, "Hey girls,
Exactly,
do you want to come?"
yeah.
So you just wanted to.
Speedos or less.
You just wanted to talk to girls all day long and give them tickets.
Damn, Daniel, you're so smart. You read me like a fucking book.
I can see the attraction.
So yeah, it never happened, unfortunately. So instead of talking to hot girls on the beach about party tickets, I ended up selling charity subscriptions for the Blind Foundation in New Zealand.
I mean, it's very close.
Door to door.
It's very similar.
And there was no warm weather, no beach. But
So you just knocked on doors?
yeah, so the way how I got into that,
tough,
when I had to leave Australia, I had very good friends in New Zealand, so I went over to see them and see if I can find a job there, because there I could actually get this working holiday visa, which I couldn't get anymore in Australia.
Right.
So I flew over, got that visa, and then on the first party,
The first party?
yes, like first night there, this one guy's just like screaming like, "Yo, who's this German guy looking for a job?" So I walk over and he's like, "You start Monday."
You're like,
And what do I do? He's like, "You'll find out." So I go there, and turns out I'm going to be doing door-to-door sales. So I'm like, "Oh wow, okay." Well, so
That's a
I just
tough
have
gig,
to like
right?
walk to doors and knock. But then they actually really introduced me to that whole topic of sales.
Yeah.
Because every single day we had really hardcore sales training for at least 2 hours before we actually went out to knock on the doors.
That's pretty good.
And then I recognized this is actually what I've always been passionate about, which is like this idea of like making people do things, like manipulating people. Because actually my university degree, I was so intrigued by the degree.
Word manipulate should be used.
But manipulation is also a positive thing. That, like,
Is it?
Yeah, you can manipulate somebody to do the right thing.
Oh, okay.
Either way. So that's then what I got really fascinated about, to like convince people to do stuff, and there's actually so many techniques about it.
Yeah.
So I actually got to learn sales as exactly the opposite to what you said, which is like forcing things down people's throat. Because I thought this is so much action, so much thrill, and this whole setup of this door-to-door sales was actually like the Wolf of Wall Street. Not only did they use his training program, but like every single day we would have this, like before we went out on the turf.
Yeah.
After we finished the training, we would like all like bounce around, like hammer against the walls and the table, so the neighbor offices always got in trouble with our office, and then like this like techno music hammering in the background, so we got hype for for the like the actual sales job, and then they would drop us at different locations.
So they hype you up and just let you go.
Exactly. And it was so crazy, and this was really like, since they all constantly quoted the Wolf of Wall Street, and I love that movie.
I love that movie too.
So I was like, wow, how come I never knew about this world, about manipulating people for
again,
for a living,
we don't endorse manipulation.
And like making crazy amounts of money with it.
So, and did you make crazy money? Was it good? Like,
I did make good money. Yeah.
Okay, you did, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That sounds.
So like my first week was one of the best first weeks ever in that company.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice, man.
But it was like, so.
Now, is this? I think you've told me this about. You said that in New Zealand, you know, for example, in England, if you went out knocking on door to door, by the second door, someone would have thrown something at you. They're you know. But I think you mentioned to me before that in New Zealand, people were much more open and quite happy to chat.
They're so nice.
Yeah.
The Kiwis in general is like the most friendly people.
Yes, that's lovely.
But in Germany, if you do that, like people, first of all, I think it's illegal.
So you get arrested.
Second of all, like you don't need, like, you're happy if the police is there before that person really gets angry about you.
Yeah.
But in New Zealand, everybody's like, oh wow, it's so cool, you're coming around the house. You want a beer?
Yeah, nice. You're like, yes.
And since it was like for a good cause.
Yeah, I guess that's a bit different. Yeah.
People were even more open to talk about it.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
So when you say it was for, did the charity get the money?
They get, yeah.
Yeah. So and you guys just got a percentage of it because obviously you were facilitating.
Okay, so that was so when I told my dad about this, he used like a German word that I had to Google afterwards.
Yeah, fraud.
So, something along those lines, like it's called like a pusher gang, like somebody who walk up to houses and push people to do something they don't want to do.
Yeah.
So I looked it up, and I was like, no, it's actually charity. So now, if you think about it, and that's how they sold it to us, so maybe I'm just still sold even 10 years after. But if you're doing something bad and you're making money with it,
yeah.
So nobody is saying like, oh, this person is like working for a manufacturer which somewhat is producing parts that will be used in weapons, you know?
Right.
And they're making money of it. People will, yeah, but it's his job. Like he studied cybersecurity, so now he's working for this company.
Yeah.
You know? But as soon as you do something good, which is charity, but you're actually working for it and make a living of it, then people will be like, no, all of the money should go to the charity.
Yeah, but
if
it's unrealistic, isn't it? You can't.
Yeah, exactly. If this charity would make 1 million without any door-to-door salespeople, but makes 50 million
absolutely.
through those people, and another 50 million go to those people, then in total, there's still 49 million more into the charity's pocket. Yes,
you're right.
Some people got rich of it, but also they got rich actually doing something that has value and is for charity.
Yeah, yeah. I get it.
That's how I see it.
Yeah, I get it. If that makes you sleep well at night, that's good.
It did.
I'm joking.
And also the fact that I was making good money with it.
Yeah, this is great.
But it was stressful, I'm telling you, because this...
So hold on, back up, because I love the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
And one of my favourite quotes from the Wolf of Wall Street is the sell me a pen thing.
Yeah.
You've seen that, right? 100 times.
Yeah.
And so did they talk about that? I'm always interested.
Yes.
Because, yeah. And what did they say about that? Do you remember?
No. I remember how they were like making us sell things in the office and stuff like this. But in that scene, I think what he does then is like he's actually having that person like explain what exactly their needs is, and then he just like really answers with those particular features about the thing, right?
Something like that, which is the yes and no. So the Wolf of Wall Street one is basically, you know, a lot of people pick up a pen and like, oh, this is the most beautiful pen in the world. It's got the best ink in it, and that's just talking about the features of the pen. Yeah. But when you want to sell something, you talk about the actual benefits.
Yeah.
And you know, the biggest benefit of it is someone says, "Here's a contract, sign it." And if you haven't got a pen, you can't sign it. And then it's like, oh, here, I've got a pen. You want to use it? And that's it. And it's the best way to sell something is, you know, someone has a problem, and you can either create the problem, and then you offer the solution. So you either create or you point out the problem. So in what we do, we point out that the situation we're in, and we don't talk about work too much, but the situation that we're in is quite difficult. We provide the solution for it, and that's how we sell it. And I like that. I think that's really interesting. And in my sales and sales training, particularly when I worked in the car industry, that's what you did. You didn't point out the features of a car. Oh, the car's got 400 brake horsepower. It does 0 to 60 in this. Those are features. But the benefits are, okay, he's a young guy. He loves driving. Imagine driving down a road and you've got a convertible and the wind through your hair, and just close your eyes and picture it. You're creating that whole scenario, and that's the benefit of it. And that's what sells, is benefit, not features. Features are just telling you about what it can do.
Or fear. Because
or fear. No, insurance now. We're doing insurance.
Because with that charity thing, for example, they were always like, so the way how the pitch started is like, oh, do you know anybody who's got diabetes? And I'm like, matter of fact, there's like millions of people worldwide that turn blind because of diabetes.
Holy moly! So
then they were thinking about like, oh, there's people in my network that actually have diabetes, or people that are blind. So they would think about them, and then on the basis of this, we would go ahead and be like, those people really need, like, the government can't really handle all of the financial investments that they need to do to help those people. So like people like you need to help to step in and donate for the Blind Foundation. But so back then my idea of sales was very different, and what I really loved about it was this this world that there's techniques to persuade people to do things, and like this challenge of winning, like sales is something that feels like a competition all of the time.
Always,
it's not like you go to a place and you do whatever the fuck somebody tells you, and if you don't do it, actually it doesn't really matter to the business either. Or it feels like there's no, like, the only challenge is to not get kicked out.
Well, I mean, certainly in the car industry, we had, I had 8 sales guys, and they had to sell a certain amount of cars per month, and you'd write it down, and when someone sold it, and towards the end of the month, you'd see some people, maybe they sold 3 cars, another person sold 5 cars, and they had to sell a minimum of like 8 cars, and you would use that as a way to motivate people. But I suppose I loved doing it. By the way, that was one of my favorite jobs. What was to motivate all of them. And we had such a nice way of doing it. Even if towards the end of the month you had the guy that was on like 4 and someone 8, you'd work out a way to get that guy on 4 to get him up to like 8 and stuff. And that is what I really like about sales. Is that challenge. You're not just competing against your fellow person, but also against yourself. But there's that camaraderie around it. And I think when you've got a group of salespeople, real estate, car sales, whatever, it can be a really fun environment. It can also be a super toxic environment, and I think we've seen that, particularly in real estate.
Well, I actually right now I would say
yours is pretty good though, isn't it?
Really good. Yeah. So what I actually love about the like any kind of sales job, but especially now in real estate here in Dubai, is that all of the people in my office, they have massive dreams, and everybody's working to get better. Like, everybody is working on themselves to become a better person. And my company is really putting like a lot of effort into developing the mindsets, but not in this stupid like Instagram way. It's really about like this aura that you need to have to be a good consultant. And that's actually one of the things that now in real estate is a lot different to what initially drew me to sales, because in real estate you can't really force anything down anybody's throat, and it's not like a quick turnaround, like you convince somebody to buy an investment. You actually have to consult them. Now, in real estate in general, I think most companies here in Dubai, the goal is only to sell things, you know. So only the numbers, and constantly like they talk about, oh, this person closed this. We in our company, we never talk about this because what it is about is really just about how you consult the clients and that you do a good job. Doesn't really matter what the outcome is, because the outcome is going to come by itself if you do a good consultation.
Well, do you know what? And I hate to butt in you there, but I came up with this quote years ago, and I saw my LinkedIn page, and it's like if you do a good,
I don't even follow you on LinkedIn. I just recognized.
Wow. If you do a good job and you provide a good service, the money will come. And that's true in any business. Like if you do what you say you're going to do and you do it well, and you always complete the task that you set out to do, eventually money will come from it. And that's what you're talking about basically, right? It doesn't matter that, okay, I've spoken to these 10 people. Did they all buy it? It doesn't matter. 2 of them bought. But you know what? Those 2 people will say, what an amazing job Chris did. And then they'll tell their friends, and their friends will then come to you and you will sell them. And all of a sudden, a year later, you've sold hundreds of places.
And I actually get that so much. Like even today, I was on a call with a guy. Like he was in Dubai last week. And we were like looking at different things. So now he knows what he wants.
Yeah.
And he said he's so happy that he met me.
Yeah.
Because I actually told him a lot of... I told him a lot of things that are not good,
and that's it.
So I said, this area I don't think makes sense for what you're planning to do.
Yeah.
Here you will have planes flying over your house all of the time. So we were like talking about so many different things.
Yeah.
And I always just said what I actually think, because in the end you're not gonna lose the sale over it. In contrast, you're actually gonna gain somebody that is a loyal customer at some point, you know.
Well, that's it. You're right.
But then at the same time, sometimes the frustrating part in real estate, I think, is that you can't really sell yourself out of a situation. So if you want to make quick money, you can't force it, because you cannot convince somebody to do something, because it's a very complicated and expensive product.
Yeah, and the people that are buying it, they're not stupid.
Exactly, and it's most of the time. And so it's a completely different kind of sales job than, for example, the door-to-door or selling party tickets or whatever.
Yeah.
Because selling party tickets is like the people, like if you go in with so much energy and you really get them hyped, they buy it, and yes, maybe afterwards they're like, oh shit, why did we just spend $150 to go to a nightclub?
But
they already sign up. But with a property, nobody's going to be like, oh yeah, let me just quickly sign a contract to buy something that's millions of dollars.
Well, listen, I really like talking about sales, but we're at the limit of our talk on this. So let's wrap this one up for today. We can always come back and delve into more sales. And we're going to dive into another podcast in just a few moments. So yeah. Okay, thank you for watching, and watch us in the next one.